Coronation! Procession! Quick march!
The 7 regiments of the British Army's Household Division have a job like no other.
Everyone happy? Yes, Corporal!
Their sworn duty is to protect the monarch and the royal family.
The defence of the realm, that's essentially our #1 job.
21 Alpha, 21 Bravo.
They're both frontline soldiers and masters of tradition.
Not closing up on the far side!
You definitely know they're coming, don't you?
Yes.
Come on, get off the horse!
We go behind closed doors during one of the most challenging periods in its illustrious history.
It's a bit crazy trying to speak to everybody when there's so many people on the streets, but, you know, that is London.
Following them on overseas operations and getting ready for war.
The idea is to rev the troops up till they are seething with anger.
At the same time as delivering the biggest national celebrations in generations, including the King's coronation.
We've got to get a move on. The Gold State coach is in danger of stopping, and that's mission failed.
And his first trooping of the colour.
To some people it will seem absolutely ridiculous, but there is nothing that fills you with as much pride.
Quick march!
This is the King's Guard. The 7 regiments of the Household Division face one of their most pressurised periods in decades as they prepare for King Charles's coronation, which is now just under a week away. On the day, the King's escort and personal bodyguard will be the Household Cavalry. Major Ed Vanderland is the officer chosen to ride alongside the King's carriage.
There's really no bigger event than the coronation itself, so for me it is a huge honour.
By the front! Return! Swords!
For Ed, being the King's escort is a family tradition.
The old man spent a full career in the House Cavalry. Naturally gave me an inclination to look at it.
At the front, when you move off from that movement, walk on, OK?
Back in the day, if you had a family link, that was almost a golden ticket into a regiment, but I think now it is more of a meritocracy.
Today, Ed will try to live up to the family name by leading his troop to Buckingham Palace.
You slow down, everyone's going to concertina up.
For a time-honoured ceremony which officially marks the countdown to the coronation. It's the issuing of a ceremonial flag or standard, which will be presented in person by King Charles.
The standard reflects all the battle honours that the regiment has been through. You have its sort of 300-odd-year history, so there's history literally woven into the fabric. It has the new C3R cipher on it, so it reflects the new king, and we'll be carrying that standard for the coronation.
To receive this honour from the king, Ed will be wearing his ornate Household Cavalry uniform.
So this is some of the ceremonial uniform that we wear for the big state events. This is an officer's tunic, hence the ridiculous amount of gold braid that's on it.
His ceremonial dress is worth over £30,000.
I'm accountable for all this kit, so if I lose it, don't tell the wife, but yeah, then I pay for it, so yeah. So it's quite, yeah, a bit of pressure. Our helmet, the key thing is about the onion on the top, so you want it to be nice and tight in the middle, a nice tight onion, and then running down nice and straight down the back of the helmet. You don't want a big fluffy plume or anything like that, because that just looks unsmart. Our cuirasses, we call these the fish scales. The idea behind these is that in battle, if someone's trying to get you with a sword, that the sword will get caught in the scale itself and not go upwards. Our crossbelt and cartouche box. So this, back in the day, the House Cavalry, you could put sort of key messages in there to ride forward to whichever commander needed it. I think even this cartouche box, that is thousands of pounds.
To the untrained eye, Ed looks like he's a natural on a horse, but appearances can be deceptive.
Well, I learned to ride a horse about 2 months ago. Yeah, feels a bit unreal. This is the first major parade that I'm going to be involved with, so I'll be lying if I said I wasn't a little bit apprehensive.
Ed and the rest of his troop set off for their date with the king.
I think it's a mixture of emotions, really. Exciting, obviously this is my first sort of major parade. I sort of try and just break it down into different manageable chunks and I'll focus on the next thing rather than kind of panic too much. There is nowhere to hide in front of His Majesty.
He has a plan to keep his nerves in check, but he's not sure if his horse got the memo.
He was just a little bit twitchy in the forecourt of Buckingham Palace. So His Majesty the King presents the standard to us in the quadrangle of Buckingham Palace, which was a hugely moving moment for us, very intimate. The King then touches the standard, which gives it royal assent. You could hear just sort of the odd crack of the gravel as a horse's hoof moved slightly, but other than that, it was sort of deathly silence in there, so really moving.
The new standard is paraded back to Cavalry HQ to be received in a private ceremony.
Pressing eyes! Centre!
At the back of our minds is the fact that in a few days we are going down the mile with millions, if not billions, of people watching either in person or on TV. So we're going from a very small, intimate parade to the largest parade that we will see in any of our lifetimes.
At RAF Odeon,
Garrison Sergeant Major, the time is 12:58, over.
Garrison Sergeant Major Vern Stokes is organising the biggest parade the country has seen for a generation. And time is not on his side.
0, Garrison Sergeant Major, start the clip track, over.
In today's final dress rehearsal, he has one last chance to manoeuvre 4,000 troops around the problematic corner at Trafalgar Square. The previous rehearsal was marked as mission failure.
Okay, this needs to be pretty swift to get everybody in.
As the Gold State coach, played by a brown minibus, was forced to stop.
What we can't do is have a concertina effect and slow down the Gold State coach and therefore the King. That doesn't have the ability to stop and start. It's just too heavy for the horses to do that.
One by one, every regiment successfully navigates the corner. But Vern takes a deep breath, as bringing up the rear are the foot guards, who struggled during the last rehearsal.
Not better.
The mile-long parade of 4,000 troops makes it around the awkward corner. And to Vern's relief, the King's carriage is still moving.
This is now the rear of the procession, just coming into view shortly. So far, so good. The first hurdle on this second rehearsal is good. It's good signs. OK, when all 5 of you mark time, you speeded the time up, and now you're a step ahead of the band.
But Vern now has a daunting new challenge, getting the whole parade through the gates of Buckingham Palace Gardens in under 7 minutes.
6s! 4 6s! Step out now!
Every second counts if the newly crowned king is to be seen stood waiting for his own troops. And today, they're already running 2 minutes late.
2.5 minutes left.
The Household Cavalry stopped down there, but they've got all that space to move into. They stopped completely down there. This lot stopped, they halted down there.
So that's just the mounted troops.
That's called kerfuffles here, massive kerfuffles. So then doing that, everybody's like, oh, it's failed, it's not working.
3 cheers for His Majesty, the King!
I can see a lot of shattered soldiers that have worked their socks off today. But it's been a really useful day, and we've learnt a lot from it. I don't have too many of those in me.
We might have to get a stunt shelter in for you for the rest of the week.
I've got some very good sweets. A little bit croaky now, but it's not the first time it's ever happened. My voice will hold out, it has to.
Verne's sore throat will be put to the test when he takes the whole parade to the capital for their one and only dress rehearsal in just 2 days' time. With just 4 days to the coronation, tonight, as the nation sleeps, the capital will close down to allow Verne Stokes one final chance to get 4,000 troops marching in perfect harmony.
The overnight rehearsal is really the opportunity for us to rehearse every aspect of what we want to deliver on Coronation Day. So, apart from daylight, everything else should be exactly the same.
It's not just Verne who's feeling the pinch. In Knightsbridge, the King's personal escort is also under pressure.
So I might help with it. I can do this, but it's really unelegant. If you don't mind just poking through the...
Having only learnt to ride a horse 2 months ago,
It's a hell of an opportunity to get the final bits right before the day itself.
tonight's rehearsal is Ed's last chance to be match fit for the biggest day in his career.
So tonight's it is the Gold State Coach. That'll be the first time I would have ridden alongside that, so that's going to be quite an experience.
It's Ed's job to protect the King's 4-ton carriage. Made from gilt wood and covered in a thin layer of gold leaf, it's transported British monarchs since 1760. And its value is beyond measure.
I'll be lying if I said I wasn't a little bit apprehensive. Yeah, God forbid, but should there be an incident on the carriage, the Sovereign's escorts and the House of Cavalry will essentially form a ring of steel around the carriage and prevent any threats coming towards the monarch.
Further down the pecking order is cavalry soldier Alex Lockhart, who is also facing his first ceremony on horseback.
Tonight is leading up to the biggest thing I've been involved in, so I'm looking forward to it. Probably a little bit nervous as well, but you know, I think that's a good thing. Shows that you care, that you're ready for it. So at the end of the day, you're in the eye of the public. So any mistake, you know, it's not missed. All my family are very excited as well. My little girl, she's 4 years old. I don't think she fully understands it yet, but she just calls me the blue soldier. Where we're blues and royals, we wear blue.
Oh, mate, it's so tight.
In your own time, Dan.
I'm trying.
Tonight's dress rehearsal must run like clockwork.
Should get someone to help me put this in.
Every soldier's conduct and performance will be under close scrutiny.
Is it really tight, is it? Oh my God.
Becky, can you shut this cartouche box?
Breathe in.
It's doable. It is doable.
You reckon?
It is.
There we go.
Thank you very much. Right.
There we go.
Hey, thanks.
Thank you, my friend.
Yes, extremely tight.
At their HQ in Windsor, the Coldstream Guards are also getting ready for the big day.
Tonight will be as close as it will be on the day, so it's important that we do a rehearsal like this on the mile, just so on the day we can be as good as possible. Yeah, do my best.
Tonight, they'll be wearing their bearskins on the 6 p.m. train to Waterloo. But first, they must pass an inspection by Commanding Officer Fred Wells.
That just needs to come up a little bit. You've got a chalk mark.
It's a huge pressure to be commanding the battalion. It'll be the biggest parade that I've ever taken part in. I think it's the biggest ceremonial occasion that the country's ever witnessed. So I'll be feeling the pressure on the day to make sure it's perfect for the King.
You started sweating already. This is a bad sign. What are you going to be like after several hours of this?
The Guards have just returned from 2 months combat training in Kenya.
Everyone will have lost a lot of weight in Kenya, and we need to make sure that our tunics are still looking immaculate for the parade.
A pair of retro boots there. Get this from a vintage fancy dress shop. Help each other out, look each other over, as well as yourselves, to make sure that you're in good order.
Having passed Fred's inspection, the Coldstream Guards, along with 4,000 troops from every regiment in the British Army, are heading to the capital for the final rehearsal to make sure they reach perfection on the big day.
Pretty packed. I think we probably need a few more carriages, to be honest.
See how tonight goes, but there's a lot more practice obviously to be done. Make sure that we get it perfect for the day.
As long as everyone's kit's all right at the other end. I just don't want to get to the other end of my boots who are all scratched up.
The hordes of passengers coming through the gates tonight at Waterloo Station are definitely not heading to an office party.
This is a first for all of us. I've never heard of large bodies of troops going anywhere by train other than going to war. We've got literally thousands of troops congregating in order to march to Wellington Barracks.
Well, it's an incredible challenge to get all of those armed forces personnel in, because they're not just coming from one location, they're coming from 5 different locations from across the south of England, so that's quite a challenge. Getting them all into Waterloo in the controlled space, shared with the public as well. We're very early into the night, so we've got quite a bit left to do.
There's quite a buzz in the air. I think people are thrilled to be doing something totally out of the norm. We just need to get going now.
Fred's soldiers will join the rest of the Foot Guard regiments at Wellington Barracks before taking their parade start positions.
Coldstream Guards and Horse Guards! Shout! Snow! Out! By the right! Quick march!
It's a real privilege to be part of the overnight rehearsals. When you're marching past Big Ben in Westminster and you see the clock illuminated, there's something quite surreal about that.
It's pretty epic to lead the battalion from Waterloo Station to Wellington Barracks. Visibility with a bearskin's not great at the best of times, but when it's dark, it's even worse. I wanted to look left and right to see, the amazing sight of the River Thames. Trying to remain smart and rigid, I stayed facing my front, but it's very special to do it. And doing it in the real place makes people stand a bit taller, knowing that this is our one chance to get it right ahead of Saturday.
The Coronation Procession is one of the biggest in British history. It's a mile long, with over 4,000 troops, 250 horses, and 19 military bands.
So I'll start the proceedings for the Coronation Procession. I'll march near the Gold State Coach and near the King.
They've all moved into position for Vern to give the command.
Coronation! Procession! Quick march!
So we try and rehearse every single concert 2 times to prove the fact that it's going to work on Coronation Day. You wouldn't know any difference apart from the absence of the King and the Queen.
At the moment, the rehearsal is falling short.
There was a few things that went wrong. Some people went the wrong way round the Queen Victoria Memorial at Buckingham Palace Gate. The Commonwealth flags were flanking Procession Group 2. They should have gone and embedded themselves into the street liners to keep the full width of the mall available for everybody who was behind them. But they got a little bit confused and they were too far forward.
The error has a dramatic effect on some of the division's horses.
Sometimes the new horses, because they're not used to the parades, they may be more likely to spook or kick out. So then when we were forming into sections from our division, we didn't have the room to fully do their manoeuvre.
The regiments have had their one shot at rehearsing the entire procession. And in 3 days' time, the world will be watching. And there will be no room for failure. Behind the public glare of delivering the biggest ceremonial event in a lifetime, the Household Division actively train for the real and present danger of going to war. In their dual role, the King's Guard offer a critical lifeline to the Ukrainian army by fast-tracking new officer recruits here in the UK.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items here, just hanging around. Why? We don't want anyone to know we're here.
Irish Guards officer Jack North is teaching life-saving skills to a platoon.
This area is a company, 1 platoon, okay?
For security purposes, their identities must be protected.
It wasn't more than 12 months ago that we were on state ceremonial duties as the Irish Guards, myself receiving the new colours from the now Prince of Wales. Fast forward to 12 months' time and the present day, and we're in the middle of soldier playing. Really highlights the versatility of the Household Division. When you get into this building here, you'll be in a really good position to provide fire support onto this building.
Jack is preparing the recruits for one of the most savage forms of combat, urban warfare.
Once 2 platoon have launched onto building 72, you will launch onto building 79.
In just 1 week's time, Jack's recruits will face the brutality of war for real.
The platoon commander's main effort is getting into this building, okay?
When they head to the Ukrainian front line to help recapture Russian-occupied cities.
We need to back to Ukraine as soon as possible because we have a lot of knowledge in how to use tactic, how to use different weapon systems.
Sensei is a 34-year-old IT engineer turned would-be officer. He's completed 9 out of 10 weeks of the platoon commander's course and is training to command up to 30 troops in preparation for the urban combat he'll face back home.
I have no military experience. I was IT engineer at an international IT company, so really I had a nice job. We are waiting and fighting for finish this total hell in our land. Each night a rocket attacked our country. It affected all our life, economic, budget, usual life. A lot of families has been broke. My girlfriend, my family, my young brother. Really, I'm here in the Ukrainian army to protect them.
Tonight, Sensei's platoon will begin their final urban combat exercise.
So this is Shooting Street. Not a particularly Ukrainian name, but they've been given the mission to clear and destroy any enemy in these buildings along here. We've tried our best to kind of add a lot of rubble, burnt out vehicles that try and represent what they could face within Ukraine at the minute.
These training exercises are designed to give the recruits the upper hand when they return to Ukrainian cities to fight for real. Urban combat aims to remove the enemy from buildings and hold them from a counterattack. It's critical that Sensei and his fellow recruits demonstrate strong organizational and communication skills.
How's it going? It was really very hard mission because attack is really fucking shit. It's terrifying because a lot of guys need to understand where we are. Need a good communication with our commander and a lot of things to do. So, yeah, it's really hard.
They launched onto the wrong building.
With the first part of the exercise over, Jack demands the recruits raise their game.
There was a lack of understanding as to where the lead section was for quite some time. I think that mainly was due to the platoon commander just being a little bit too far back from the situation.
As in just a few days' time, they'll be putting theory into practice when they return home to fight for their country. The biggest national event in a lifetime is now just a few days away. Today, the King's Guard top brass have gathered next to Buckingham Palace to welcome a very special visitor. To ensure coronation preparations are fully on track, the King's sister is coming to meet the household division.
Princess Royal is the most senior of all of the colonels of the 7 regiments of the Household Division. So she came to see a handful of us to check that things were in order for the coronation itself.
The Princess Royal is introduced to the senior members from each regiment involved in her brother's coronation.
We read about them in the papers, we see them on TV, but to actually meet any member of the royal family up close and personal is a real honour.
All practicing in different places in the world.
The Princess Royal's a delight to chat to. She really understands the army and understands what soldiers do and has a real affinity with the troops of the Household Division.
And so much skill. Fresh back from Kenya. Yes, I mean, we were sort of tracking it loosely, knowing this was looming in the distance.
Princess Anne was very interested in the fact that we had come straight back from Kenya and recognised the huge responsibility we have of maintaining our dual role of being excellent field soldiers and excellent ceremonial soldiers. And for us, it's a huge morale boost.
One last photograph. 1, 2, thank you very much, brother.
Every King's Guard soldier must fulfil both sides of their duty. For Irish Guards officer Jack North, it means pushing his Ukrainian recruits to breaking point to make them combat ready. They've been engaged in urban combat throughout the night.
You want to keep putting the pressure on them because it'd be easy to just sit here and let them do whatever they like, but I'm there to add elements of difficulty.
There's about to be an attack launched onto their position, but that's just about to go off in 20 seconds, so we need to move. They received an overwhelming force. What we're hoping now, they start to withdraw and then call for support.
So their job is to slowly withdraw through the building and trying to cause as many casualties as possible.
Always very hard. However, we are still keep alive and yeah, keep going.
Glad it kind of culminated in the way that we were kind of hoping it would. It's a marked improvement. Sensei got on well. He's an incredibly intelligent individual. He's able to really understand a problem and then provide an effective plan. We're really leaning on him heavily to help bring on the other individuals, which is great. You know, you kind of almost have an embedded instructor within their peers.
The Ukrainian recruits have finally completed the fast-track platoon commander's course. Absorbing 1 year's worth of vital combat knowledge in just 10 weeks.
Yeah, I think emotions running pretty high. This is the culmination of the course. So we've got some certificates to give out. There'll be a Ukrainian choir to sing for them to send them off. And a priest as well that's going to sort of bless them before they head back to Ukraine. It's a chance for the UK instructors to say goodbye, and it's also an opportunity for them to celebrate the fact that they've passed a difficult course and they've shown that they are capable of doing the job back over in Ukraine.
Speaking on behalf of
all of the British instructors here. We wish we could be on the ground with you in Ukraine, fighting ourselves side by side. So please keep going, and we'll be thinking of you from here. So well done, and Slava Ukraine!
Sensei and his fellow recruits must now deal with the cold reality of heading home to defend their country.
Go well, okay?
My dream to have peace in Ukraine. No war, no rockets, no missiles. When I meet with my girlfriend and family, hug, kisses, of course borscht, nice food. When war will finish, I propose, and for sure she will say yes.
Heading off back to their home country to go and fight a war. I'm really, really proud of the guys, the effort they put in, the willingness to learn. At the end, where they're going, some of them might not make it. The team know that, but they're very proud.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us here at an expectant Buckingham Palace on this defining day for King and for country.
In the capital, a nation prepares for the biggest national party in generations. The eyes of the world are firmly focused on London.
I think at this stage, there's nothing I can personally do to fix anything that could possibly go wrong now, because we've done our rehearsals, we know what we've got to do.
After 6 months of planning by the Household Division, the day of the King's coronation has finally arrived. As the Guards commute into London, the Household Cavalry prepare their horses for the big day.
My alarm was about 4:30, so a little bit earlier than normal. I think, you know, you've got the adrenaline going, so you're just ready to get up and crack on. You don't want to be late.
For Trooper Alex Lockhart, it's the most prestigious day of his career.
Today we'll be on horseback for about 6 hours, I think. It's quite a long time. But I'm sure the day will fly by. Yeah. Before we know it, it'll all be over. I'm just putting on all the tack now. It's a bit tricky sometimes, as you can see. It's just falling off. He doesn't spook that easily. He doesn't bite or anything as well. At the end of the day, it's an animal, so no matter how many times you train, you're always going to get a reaction at some point, even from the best of horses. So I'll have about 15 minutes to get changed. You get changed, and then you have to work your way down in all your full state kit and your boots. Walking down the stairs isn't the easiest of tasks. Where the boot comes up quite high on the knee, there's not much flexion, so you kind of find yourself walking down in quite an awkward manner. Sometimes you can catch both of your spurs together, and there's nothing you can do about it. You just fall over.
Oh, that needs emptying.
Hoping to stay upright is trumpeter Andy Jackson.
My role will be to sound the royal salute as the King gets out of the carriage and goes to Westminster Abbey. Someone's got to do it. It's a front and centre role that I never thought I would get the opportunity to do. Hopefully I'll be riding the straight line. No promises.
In 10 minutes' time, Andy will be centre stage and a key player. More than anything, the weather gods need to be kind.
If it rains, my horse will get cold, wet and miserable. He'll shuffle more, and the trumpet mouthpiece is going to be freezing. So hopefully the rain will keep off.
It's the 6th of May, 2023, and the culmination of 6 months ceremonial preparation for the King's Guard.
In
Under 2 hours' time, King Charles and Queen Camilla will ride from here to be crowned at Westminster Abbey in a service laced with ancient legacy and studded with symbolism.
Thousands of members of His Majesty's Armed Forces are preparing to escort him to and from the Abbey.
At 10:45 a.m., 400 million people are watching as King Charles is taken from Buckingham Palace to his coronation. Riding on the back wheel of the King's carriage, Major Ed Vanderland leads the Sovereign's escort.
Yeah, you can see straight into the carriage, you can see the expressions on His Majesty's face.
He's responsible for protecting the King and delivering him safely.
I think it's fair to say I probably have one of the best seats in the house, although I would caveat it's probably not the most comfortable.
Also not feeling so comfortable is one of Ed's team, fighting to keep his horse from causing a PR disaster.
And he was sort of veering left and right. Just that sight of the crowds, coupled with the noise, just overwhelmed him.
The horses did get a bit excited, yeah. I mean, that's always a problem with large crowds.
The public was so noisy, supporting the King as he made his way to Westminster Abbey. It was just an incredible experience.
The King is delivered to Westminster Abbey.
We did arrive a couple of minutes early, but it's better to be early than to be late.
As the world watches the 2-hour service, the King's Guard's moment of history has arrived. All 4,000 troops now gather in line, ready to escort the newly crowned King back to Buckingham Palace. Inside Wellington Barracks, Fred Wells's Coldstream Guards prepare for their landmark moment.
We're just about to go out on parade, so this is the big moment now.
Right, Coldstream, second lieutenants, let's get ourselves on the stairs.
When the King comes out and steps into his carriage, you can then step off with all of us marching ahead of him.
I'm not going to lie, a little bit of nerves are kicking in now. I mean, we're probably minutes from stepping off. We know there's quite a crowd outside, and we'll all be a little bit damp. Our bearskins will be a bit wet.
Bayonets on, get covered off, 3 rounds. Here we go.
At 12:30 precisely, Fred leads his soldiers out of Wellington Barracks to take their parade start position.
Coldstream Guards and Irish Guards, by the right, quick,
While the Coldstream Guards take up their place near the rear of the parade, Brigade Major James Shaw moves into his exclusive spot.
So I'll be leading their Majesties back from Westminster Abbey to Buckingham Palace. So I'll be at the front of the parade, around a mile in front of the Gold State Coach, with 4,000 troops behind me.
With James up front, Vern is back at Westminster Abbey to officially start the coronation procession.
I waited for the service to finish. We had a flag operator telling me that their Majesties were just emerging from the Abbey, giving me a signal then to start the procession. And at that moment there, I gave the word of command.
Coronation! Procession! Quick march!
I'm very pleased to say that everybody stepped off at the right time.
But the roar from 100,000 spectators overwhelms one officer's horse.
One horse did get spooked, but that's why the barriers are there, and the rider of the horse actually did really well to stay on. His bearskin fell off. I think in holding it, maybe the bearskin was by the horse's eye. Did exactly what he should have done. He reacted accordingly and, yeah, rejoined the procession.
To Vern and the entire division's relief, even the dreaded corner at Trafalgar Square is negotiated perfectly.
So we turned left under Admiralty Arch, and you could see Buckingham Palace in the distance. Everyone rose a few inches, and their chests swelled with enormous pride.
Going up the mount, I won't lie, we were all extremely wet. Everything was absolutely soaked through.
Trumpeter Andy Jackson is riding his white horse directly behind the King's carriage.
My horse could at any moment decide he's not happy with something. That's absolutely my biggest fear. There was a point where he took personal offence to a flag, but I managed to keep it under control and not go crashing into Court Major Liebird in the Standard, which would have been a career-ending move, probably.
It wasn't the most relaxed rides, and there was a point I was just praying for Buckingham Palace to get a bit closer.
In the moment, you're concentrating a lot because every time there was that wave of noise, the horses reacted to it.
After perfectly executing the 3,000 steps from Westminster Abbey, the parade files into Buckingham Palace Gardens.
I was at the rear of the Gold Slate coach, as close as I was to the newly crowned King and Queen. It was a really proud moment for me, being able to be that close.
With the whole parade assembled in front of the King, Verne initiates an iconic coronation moment that will echo down the line of history.
3 cheers for His Majesty, the King, and Her Majesty, the Queen! Hip, hip!
It was so loud. The echo was almost louder than the 3 cheers, which I had to wait for that to dissipate before I then went on to the next cheers.
Hip, hip!
I remember looking directly at the King, and he was overjoyed, and you could see immediately what it meant to him.
Hip, hip!
That roar was incredible. And I was a bit worried that my voice wouldn't carry to the back of the garden, because it's vast. The 3 cheers for me is a special moment, and it will stay with me for life. The noise was deafening from the public. The cheers from the people that had filled the mall. It wafted over Buckingham Palace.
Very strange, 6 months of hard work gone in 6 hours of delivery.
I think what we deliver in terms of state ceremonial, pomp and ceremony, it brings together a nation. It makes everybody reflect on what binds us together and not what drives us apart.
After delivering a coronation the world will never forget, the household cavalry ride back into barracks. With soggy backsides, but full of pride.
Definitely buzzing, yeah. Time to celebrate now, I think.
Mugs, please do not break any of these mugs. Yes? Sir. And then from there, you can take soft drinks or alcohol drinks if you want. One.
Having finished riding school, what, sort of 2.5 months ago now, to be on a coronation, I can't really put it into words. Not too far behind getting married and having children. The atmosphere's been building down here for the whole week. I could not be prouder to be escorting leader with these guys, so yeah, unbelievably happy. How's everyone feeling? Pretty knackered? Yeah, you should be. Just lastly, look guys, I'm incredibly proud of all of you, so really, really well done today. Yes, this is the start of the season. I know you haven't got much time off, but enjoy what you can. Try and soak in some of the wider atmosphere in the country, so well done. Enjoy a drink, there's a mug, happy days.
Next time, a Trooping the Colour heatwave causes havoc for guards on parade.
I woke up 2 minutes later in an ambulance.
Gonna be carnage.
2 trainee tank soldiers face a make-or-break final test.
What are you doing?
And a class of cavalry rookies
Go on, Norton!
struggle to learn to ride.
Taylor, you are doing nothing on top of this horse right now.